became blue, but those who have been toiling here representing Georgia for years. We want to think about DeKalb County and the role it played in this election. And tonight we have none other than Hank Johnson, Congressman, that is, Hank Johnson, rude truth teller, Hank Johnson, committee leader, Hank Johnson, a phenomenal person who has made a difference in the lives of serving our community. Congressman, welcome to A Seat at the Table.
I am privileged and honored to be once again with you, Munson Steed. I respect you so much, what you have done, all that you have accomplished, and what you continue to do to make sure that the word gets out there to everybody in every nook and cranny in our community.
Well, thank you. We're excited. We actually are launching a new TV station here in Atlanta soon. But the idea for us is, when you think about it, and Congressman Hank Johnson says he's the best Democrat for the job. What did you see? What vision did you have?
Well, I just knew that Joe Biden was a man who, in 47 years of service to the nation, served honestly and served humbly. And he actually served. He wasn't there for the money. He wasn't there for the glamour. He was there to serve. The tone that he set early on when he first got sworn in as a US Senator after losing his wife and his daughter in a car accident, leaving him with 2 sons to raise as a single parent. And the example that he set back then, which was to take the train to DC from Delaware every morning and return back home in time to tuck his kids into bed, his 2 sons into bed. And he did that for many, many years, single parent. The fact that he came from beginnings, his daddy was born into wealth, but something happened and the wealth disappeared and his daddy had to take a job. And then he ended up losing the job. And for a while, the family had to live with his mother's mother and father. Joe and his siblings lived with his parents at his mother's house. And so to go through that and to live in an apartment, for his daddy to retire as a used car salesman, that shows you the kind of struggle that this white Northerner had coming up, and then to go to law school, to come out, become a public defender. He wasn't the top guy in his class. He didn't get the silk stocking job at the law firm. He came out and worked in the public defender's office, became a county commissioner, and then ran and won a seat in the US Senate, and then suffer the tragedy of losing his wife and his daughter. To overcome that, get married again, have a new family, still got his sons, and to move all the way up 36 years of service. Well, yeah, actually, 37 years in the Senate, 37 years as a senator, steeped in domestic affairs as well as foreign affairs, being the chair of the Foreign Relations Committee, then serving for 8 years as the number 2 man to the first Black president of the United States of America. And when they went into office, it was at the ravaging Great Recession, at the beginning of the Great Recession. And so to come into office with Barack Obama assigned him the task of saving the auto industry. That happened. The nation came out of a Great Recession into a period of over 107, 108 months of straight job growth, the longest economic recovery on record, and to then leave office without blemish, no corruption, no drama, he just served. He was a great vice president. And then to contrast that with Donald Trump, the exact opposite: self-serving, lies, cheating, drama, incompetence, and to now be in position to bring us back as a nation from the decline that we have suffered over the last 4 years. I know that Joe Biden has the ability to get it done, and that's why I support him. That's why I supported him all along.
Yeah. Well, I like that insight because our community needs to understand. But I think the other thing is we need insight on our vice president. Obviously, she's not a Southerner. She's not even a Northerner. She's a Westerner. She's been and spent time, obviously, at Howard. But when you think of our new vice president, the first Black female elected and the first female elected, what should we be thinking and understand that you have had an opportunity to experience with our new Vice President-elect Harris?
Kamala Harris is a woman of great success. And yo, excuse me, these people keep calling me from this joint. And but anyway, she has had a great career. HBCU grad, Howard University, AKA. She's a Black woman with the Black experience through and through. She rose to become the district attorney of San Francisco. And of course, some people might begrudge lawyers for taking on unpopular clients or unpopular causes. I'm a lawyer myself. I was a criminal defense lawyer, but I appreciate the fact that we live in an adversary system where you have to have prosecution and defense, and both need to do an excellent job in order for justice to prevail. And Kamala Harris was a great prosecutor, and she did her job, did it well. And I don't fault her for being a prosecutor. I think she did a lot as a prosecutor to try to make the system better for the people who were the appetite, or who satisfied the appetite of the criminal justice system. She tried to do some reforms, and I think she was successful. And then she became the Attorney General for the state of California, the largest Justice Department or state Attorney General's office in the nation, that second only to the U.S. Department of Justice in terms of its scope and its reach and its power, because of that being the biggest state. And so, and she used that power to address economic inequity that had occurred with the mortgage system that resulted in the Great Recession. She single-handedly held up a settlement that all of the other attorneys general in the country had agreed to, except for Joe Biden's son, Delaware. He was the attorney general there. And they held up a settlement that had been reached with predatory lenders because Kamala wanted to get a better deal. And as a result of that, it was a multi-billion-dollar better deal that benefited who? The people whose homes were foreclosed on, and that was that was disproportionately Black people in this country. And so she's done a lot. Then she became a United States senator, and in her short tenure, she has acquitted herself well. She and Cory Booker wrote the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and it, of course, passed the House of Representatives. It remains to be passed in the Senate. But she's a woman of great accomplishment, and I can tell you, I know her. I know where her heart is, and she's going to be an excellent Black vice president. She's going to be an excellent vice president for the nation. And but she is a Black woman, and I'm proud to see her ascend to the White House. So we've got a situation, Munson, where we've had a Black man who was the primary occupant of the White House for 8 years. Then we had a backlash of folks who resented that. And then we've overcome that backlash. Now a Black woman is going to be in the Oval Office and serving with Joe Biden, the next president. And they have a lot of things on their agenda that they've got to accomplish, and I know that they will.
You know, when you think about the idea of where our community is, the Black agenda, when you think about the district that you represent, we've gotten now a new president. How do we anticipate our community with Black Lives Matter, with the discussion of white privilege, reparations? Where are we as it relates to reparations and really moving our community forward and getting this country to be honest about the contributions that our community has made?
Well, this was a very successful election because we got rid of Donald Trump and we elected a new president. And we elected that new president with a mandate. The mandate is to unify our country, bring us together and move us forward. What is the first issue that has to be addressed? It's the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been totally mishandled by the Trump administration. It basically ran up the white flag and surrendered to the coronavirus. And their theory was that only the strong survive. So let COVID-19 take the weak ones, leaving the stronger ones to then be in a position to continue their privilege and domination of everybody else. And that is called herd immunity. That approach to the COVID-19 was called herd immunity, and it has had a disproportionate impact on Black people and brown people and older people. But now it's starting to get to young people. It is now out throughout the United States. It's not just in the cities, it's in the rural areas, and it's in the rural states. And so those hospitals are being overcome with sick COVID patients who don't look like us, Munson. They look like the majority. And those folks are getting sick and they're dying now.
Should there be a mask
so,
mandate?
So yes, we should. Masking has been shown to reduce rates of infection. And so all of us need to be encouraged to wear masks, even if you're young and you think you can't get the virus, but yeah, you can get the virus and you may tolerate it better than your elderly mother and father or grandmother and father, uncle and aunt, or your neighbors. So you can't just think about yourself, you got to think about others who you can infect, and they end up having problems and dying from the virus. So, but the first order of business is to get a handle on this COVID-19 coronavirus, which is impacting everybody in this country without regard to wealth or status. Even Mark Meadows, the chief of staff to the president, is home sick with the COVID-19 virus. So we got to stop this virus. And then once we do that, then we can begin to reopen our economy in a way that we all accustomed to. We can bring back the jobs because we've lost millions of jobs. Millions of small businesses have gone out of business, some forever.
But are you saying that we should mandate masks? Should President Biden, our new president, mandate as a national policy?
Yeah, there should be a policy where mask use is recommended and encouraged. And I mean, you can't, at this point, there's no laws in place saying that you have to wear a mask. And it's not going to be that way. But the federal government can use its power to, first of all, encourage people. Don't discourage people from wearing masks. Don't recklessly say that masks don't matter. Don't set an example of not wearing a mask and not caring about the pandemic when you know that you're living in a bubble and that you've got the best medical care and you can get the extraordinary treatments that are not available to everybody else. So you go about the business of promoting your herd immunity concept, which again is the weak die, leaving the strong, which means the white folk live, the black folk and the brown folks die. While you perpetuate that strategy, encouraging people not to wear masks, we've had enough of that. We've had over 230,000 deaths as a result of this example that this president has set. So Joe Biden wears his mask, and he will be strongly urging everyone else to wear their mask. And then once we get a handle on this pandemic with a vaccine, which we can all have trust in, that's not produced out of political persuasion and as a political tool, but something that the scientists tell us is effective and safe, then we have to make sure that we get that virus out to the communities, Munson, who are most impacted, not to everybody who can afford it, but get it to the folk who can't afford it, to the folks who have the weakest health conditions. So the distribution of the vaccine is so important. That's coming up. You got to have that apparatus in place, the supplies to do it, the logistics in place, all of that. Yeah. So this new president is going to put all of that into place to save us all. And in the meantime, creating a better economy so that we can go back to work and so that we can also send our children safely to school, Munson, because we got a lot of children. I'm going out during the day and I'm seeing some parents, young parents with their young children with them. And I'm thinking these children should be at home doing virtual learning, but they're out in the street with their parents. And it's our kids. And so we got to get our kids back in school.
Well, when you think about that, we've got a huge race right now. We've got 2 Senate seats up. What can our community do so that we can support this new runoff? It's huge.
Well, there's still a lot of people out here who think that their vote does not matter, that their vote does not count, that it doesn't make a difference. And fortunately, there were a bunch of people who decided that I'm not going to be apathetic. I'm going to get out here and vote. And so people voted in massive numbers, record numbers here in Georgia. And we actually turned Georgia blue for the first time in 28 years. And so we need to continue, we need to finish the job because we have the opportunity to elect 2 United States senators. And if we elect those 2 United States senators, add those to the 48 that are already elected, that'll mean we'll have 50 United States senators who are of the Democratic Party, which is the same party as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and the same party as rules the House of Representatives. So there'll be a tie in the Senate. And because the vice president serves as the president of the Senate with a vote, it'll make that vice president, Kamala Harris, a Black female, the vice president will be the tiebreaker in the Senate. And so we'll have a Senate majority, and then we will be in a posture to work to get some of the gains that we as a people are going to hold this administration accountable for. Things like criminal justice.
But you hear reparations, you hear real economic participation. We literally don't have any Black females in Fortune 500 CEO positions. We have very few Black males, 3 in Fortune 500. Do you see the nation moving in a direction where reparations is something they can begin to accept?
Yeah, it may not be a word, that word may not be used, reparations, because it is a word loaded with um, emotional emotional baggage, I will say. It gets people thinking that when you talk reparations, it gets people to thinking that you're talking about a cash handout to folks who can prove that they are Black enough to receive the handout. And who gets the handout? Is it the Blacks who can prove that they were descendants of slaves? And if so, how much white blood will dilute that Blackness so that it'll cut the check? So you go through all of those things like that, when you talk about reparations. But when you talk about equity for Black folks in this economic system that we have, that's another word. It is a concept that has meaning and that doesn't have the baggage, and that inspires a sense of justice and fairness in people. And so then you can bring folks to the table to talk about what can we do to bring equity to the positions of people who have been subjugated and discriminated against for 401 years. What can we do? Because we now understand that if those folks are not safe and secure and enjoying the prosperity like us, it means we can't enjoy the prosperity. I think folks are beginning to get that message. It came across clearly with the death of George Floyd. People could see that Black folks, particularly those living in urban communities, are treated badly by police officers, more so than white folks, disproportionately so. We're having these deaths of unarmed Black people. And this one we can see right here on TV for 8 minutes and 46 seconds of an excruciating, painful death. And that touched the nation. People understood that this is what Black folks have had a knee on their necks for 401 years in every single facet of American life. And so what do we need to do now to correct this? White folks, young white folks understood it. They were the ones who went out and helped produce this victory for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And so, yes, I do think that this issue will be on the table and it will be addressed. Time for talk is over. It's time to now get down to the business and start doing stuff. But we can't do a thing with a Mitch McConnell being in charge of the Senate with a Senate majority. And that's what will happen if we don't get out here and elect these two United States senators from the Democratic Party in Georgia. One, a Black man, the other, a white man. That's equity.
But we're going to have to get that white man on a seat at the table because we did not hear from him at all. Obviously, you heard from our brother and many of the community leaders supporting our brother. I want to say that
did you reach out to reached out to
his team, but maybe you don't know the right people. We'll get better.
Okay, well, I'm going to make sure to convey the angst of the community and not being able to hear from John Ossoff on this platform, on Munson Steed's platform, whichever platform he is working with.
Right, and in our area, just pretty invisible. So really want to make sure we win. I think that I appreciate your insight. Looking forward to a couple of op-eds because we need to hear from you and allow our community to really get insight. Very proud of you. Continue to do all that you do to serve the 4th District, because it made a difference in the Biden-Harris campaign for sure. So we want to thank you so much for coming on a seat at the table this evening, and look forward to you coming back again.
Well, thank you for having me, Mr. Steed. You continue to do your work in the community, entrepreneuring, doing what needs to be done to build wealth, but to make sure that our community is informed in every nook and cranny of our community. Folks don't really understand the power of that.
Right.
And we're going to need that power moving towards January 5th.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You're watching A Seat at the Table with Congressman Hank Johnson of the 4th District. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Appreciate it.
For all of you who tuned in, just know that Hank Johnson is a phenomenal leader in Congress, and we'll be back with you at A Seat at the Table in 30 minutes. This is A Seat at the Table covering the election of both Joe Biden, the president-elect, and Kamala Harris, vice president. I'm Munson Steed for A Seat at the Table. I want you to make sure that you are continuing to be active. Encourage everyone that you know in Georgia to continue to move forward. So all of you who are there, want to make sure that you contact, call, email anyone that you know, so that the race has started right now, this very minute, this very second. It is time to get out the vote. Any of those who didn't have the opportunity to vote but can be and are eligible to register, this is that moment. It will end December 5th. So we want the entire community to understand that this is a moment that hasn't happened in so long in Georgia. We can actually control the Senate. We can actually move this country forward, not only making it blue, but having the issues of our community, the Black community, the Black child, the Black mother, the Black grandmother, the Black father, all of those. So for you, hold tight, because we've got more congressional leadership coming your way here on A Seat at the Table. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.